Good wonderful morning, United States. Good wonderful evening, Singapore and China. Good afternoon, Germany. Welcome to Fashion Business Mastermind Q&A, your weekly board meeting where you ask important questions and get answers that help you to move the needle in your business. I'm Julianne Tofiev, fashion inventor and manufacturer of 15 years in business and your mentor on this wonderful journey. I have a lot of questions today and all of them are extremely exciting, so let me pull them up and we'll start. The question number 1, Chantel is asking, when would someone register their business with Dun and Bradstreet? Establishing a DUNS number for a small business helps third parties understand your business credit history and credit worthiness. And you are required to have a DUNS number if you are working with government agencies. Otherwise, you are not required by law to have DUNS number. It's being said that having DUNS number is useful for businesses that are planning to get third-party financing and want to make it easy for lenders to understand their credit history. So for those who are interested in this number, please pay attention that there have been some changes recently in the April of this year. So you need to do your research to see whether you still need the number to be able to work with the government agencies, in the case that you are working with government agencies. For me, it is not clear why a small private company, a fashion startup, would need a number like that. Why would a small startup in fashion need to give insight into her financial status to everybody who wants to inquire, rather than keep it private? In the case that you are going to apply for financing, I imagine that a bank will be satisfied with the financial numbers provided by your accountant. And the lenders and the financial institutions, they are in the first place interested in your contracts, long-term contracts with your clients, in your recurring revenues, and in the evidence that your product is in demand, that you can generate sufficient sales and that you can scale these sales. So what financial institutions are interested in are the numbers, are your sales numbers and your ability to scale. And as a private entity, you can provide these numbers to the financial institution. For me, it is not clear why would you go and apply for this number unless required for your business, because it means that everybody who wants to inquire will have access to your financial status. However, you may consult your accountant and your banker and see whether it's really required for you in your particular case. Question number 2. Cynthia is asking, what Shopify apps do you recommend that actually drive traffic to your site? We have tested 2 Shopify apps. One that is extremely promising, we just got approved for that. It's called Shop app. So if you have a Shopify store and you are already more than 3 months on the market with this particular store, applying for a shop will be very easy for you. You will be able to set it up instantly. The second app that we have tested is Instant Traffic app. Instant Traffic is a network of creators that allow each other to post advertisement for their products on each other's sites. And we have been testing this Instant Traffic app for the past 4 months. Our numbers till now are as follows. We've got 1,486 impressions. From these impressions, we've got 14 visitors with a CTR, click-through rate of 0.94%. With a conversion rate in our store of 1% right now, we need to wait for another 2.5 years to get enough people on our site to sell to them using this instant traffic. So it does not look that promising. However, I have to say that we really didn't study it much. We just put it on, turned it on, so to speak, and let it run. We also didn't do anything in terms of improvement of our presentation to increase the CTR in this instant traffic app. Maybe some improvements are possible, but the sheer amount of impressions that we are getting right now is quite low. So I think that it may be more promising for stores who have a lot of products. In our store, we have 2 products right now. We're focusing on one driver, and we have 2 products in our store. So with 2 products, we have 1,486 impressions. If you have more products in your store, 100 products, 50 products, you will get way much more impressions. This is my expectation. So instant traffic, test it out. Maybe it works for you. Question number 3. Jackie is asking, when creating prints for fabric, how many designs should I start with? How many should I have in a collection? Jackie is in quilting space. Jackie, I like to start to launch with 1 print. The more prints you offer to your clients to choose from, the more difficult it is for them to purchase. The more products you offer to clients in the very beginning, the less are your conversion rates. It makes sense to present 1 product to your clients, to think very well about the print that you would love to sell, the reasons why people need it, and develop this 1 print and offer this 1 print to your clients. At the moment when your clients have purchased the first print, you can develop the second one for them, and then you will offer the second print to those who have purchased the first. This is a strategy that I love very much, rather than developing gazillions of products and trying to sell it to everybody with zero focus. So crystal clear focus on 1 product that is your driver and stands up front of your value ladder is the best strategy for you to maximize your conversion rate. Now, in your particular case, it makes a lot of sense to start a creative membership with these prints, with these quilting kits. What you do is that you start a program that is a recurring revenue program called Creative Membership Program. People who join Creative Membership Program, they purchase 1 print from you every month. So they are receiving 1 new print per month, and because they are creative members, they are also allowed to co-create. So this is the central, the very important part of your product development. The co-creators are allowed to submit their own prints to you. You expose these prints submitted by co-creators, by creative members, to your audience. Your audience votes for these prints, and those prints that are voted up, that won the race, so to speak, are going into production. You create them. What do you achieve with that? Customer satisfaction. Creative people who are buying from you are getting their creations produced. This is extremely interesting for them, rewarding for them. And your clients become your creators. So basically all these patterns are developed by your clients, and of course once you produce someone's print and you are selling it on their behalf, first they will bring a lot of traffic to this offer because this is their creation, and they will of course also earn a royalty from the sales of this particular print that they have developed. So you are creating not only recurring revenue for your company by launching a creative membership, but also an army of ambassadors who are bringing new clients to you because they would love to promote their very own creations. And of course, community of creators that will support you and your business no matter what. Question number 4, Jackie is asking, when making up kits for projects, for like a subscription box, would I include the thread as well? It does depend on how available different colors of thread are in the market. If it is a commodity and it is very easy for a creator to go to a store or to an online store and get any thread color that they need for a project, I would not add the thread to the box. The reason being they can purchase it and it makes your box less cost intensive for you. So either you can charge a lower price to your clients, or you can have a better margin for yourself. And as well, the whole package will be smaller lighter, you will also have savings in shipment. If you need a very special thread for the project, which is not easily available in the market, you will need to add it to the box. If the threads are kind of sometimes available and other times are not available, you may consider to add these threads as a separate product. At the moment that someone gets a creative box for a certain project, they also get the instruction to get XYZ thread in a certain amount from your store. So this would be another option that you could consider. Question number 5. Tammy is asking, when speaking with wholesalers and buyers, what should your maximum price and minimum price points be? When you start out, your most important goal is to find partners and start selling. Those people who believe in you first get the best terms and conditions. They will get the lowest MOQs and they will get the best wholesale prices. The wholesale price of yours will be calculated as your COPL times 2. So this is your minimum WSP. Imagine that your cost of production landed COPL is $9. Then your minimum wholesale price will be $18 a piece. And this is your absolute minimum. You want to double COPL. Your minimum order quantity, minimum order quantity I suggest to start with is anything above $200. You start with the MOQ, anything above $200, and with wholesale price, your COPL times 2. For a product with 3 sizes and a wholesale price of $18, your MOQ could be 12 units. So shall a client want to take the same amount of sizes, she can. And it's quite an easy decision-making process. Shall she want to take only 2 sizes, half and half, she can. Only 1 size, she can. Once you have this data, you present this data to your wholesale partners and wait for their feedback, for their answer, for their response. If they do not agree to your terms, then you ask them what would they love to have. And then based on their requirements, you decide either you're going to change your wholesale price, your minimum order quantities for this partner or not. Is it viable for you? Can you afford it? Can you still make a sale with this person by meeting their requirements? So in the very beginning, what you're doing, you're listening to people and learning what do they need, under which conditions would they accept you as their supplier. After some time, when more and more partners are joining in and your wholesale volumes are growing, you review the whole data and you start offering higher MOQs to your new partners. So the new partners who will come in, you will offer them higher minimum order quantities. And at a certain point in time, you also can consider to have different steps of a wholesale price, with this COPL times 2 being reserved only for those who have believed in you in the very beginning, and for those who are taking high quantities, the newcomers who are taking high quantities. And for those who still would love to have 12 pairs of socks, right? The wholesale price could be COPL times 2.5, for example, or even times 3. It is a learning process, and there are some rules in terms of where you start with, but then you are basically learning from your partners and seeing how to set up a real win-win cooperation with them. Question number 6. Is there a formula to negotiating with wholesalers? Tammy is asking. So the formula is, when you start, the formula is ask, listen, adjust. You will be learning from your partners, and you will be adjusting your way of conducting business, and you will be adjusting your offers based on what your client, your wholesalers, your retail partners need and want. Question number 7. Cynthia is asking, how often should a business be doing an inventory check? You're required by accounting to do the whole inventory check at least once a year. But generally speaking, for those best sellers of yours, you should have insight into your inventory levels on daily basis. We've spoken about it on multiple occasions that it is very disadvantageous to be out of stock for a product that is selling very well. This is why a common practice would be to set up a trigger in your software, say for example in the Shopify, that will notify you once you go below a certain percentage of the inventory. And you've already obviously calculated how much time do you need to manufacture, so you already know at which level of your inventory do you need to receive such a notification, and then once the notification is there, you place a new order. But for those best sellers, you have to have very good insight into your stock levels. Question number 8. Chantel is asking, how do you ensure the quality approved for the sample is done for the bulk order? Very good question. The quality standard for your bulk production should be agreed upon with your manufacturer in written form, as well as the quality control procedures and the AQL levels. So you need to write it out before you start your production. Before you start production of your fabrics, generally speaking. You start with, in the whole project of producing your fashion, say we have one style now, you start with the production of fabrics. So first we will look at fabrics and trims. So this is the first part. You produce fabrics, you produce trims. So you need to define quality standards for fabrics and trims. The applicable standards could be the composition, the color fastness, the fabric color and its deviation standard, and fabric weight. So these are common standards. Depending on the type of your product, you may also have other requirements to the fabric, like fabric being wrinkle-free, fire resistant, have a certain tear resistance, or have a certain seam slippage, to name the few. There are a lot of different requirements that you can have to your fabrics, depending on what product it is and what certifications for this product are required and what regulations are there in the market for this product. So some of them you can test by yourself, others can be tested by your manufacturer, and others have to be tested by a test lab. And all of them, of course, also can be tested by a test lab. So you always decide for yourself, do I want to test by myself? Do I want to just ask my manufacturer to test and provide the test results? Or do I want lab to run tests? So these will be the most official test results. Let's go through this example standards here and see how do you really test them. So composition. The composition, you can test it yourself by burning the fabric and you see what's inside. So this is the simplest one. You can run a lab test for a composition of the fabrics. If it is very important to know that this is the exact composition, then you can run a lab test. The color fastness. Color fastness can be tested by yourself. It's quite simple. You take cold water, you put your fabric into the cold water and see whether the water changes in color. If it changes in color, then the color fastness is below 3. And you can also check the color fastness by washing your garment together with a little white cloth. And then you see whether this white cloth changed the color. So then the color fastness will not be good. Again, it depends per product. For example, if we're talking about denim, color fastness of denim is probably 2, maybe 1.5, depending on what it is. So it is very low because denim, its quality is to lose its color and change its shade. So this is a denim property. But if we're talking about any other fabric for normal clothing, then you would expect the color fastness to be lowest 4. And in this particular case, if you put it into the washing machine, wash it with a white piece of fabric, the white piece of fabric will remain white. Of course, you will need to wash at 30 degrees. You cannot put it at 100 degrees Celsius and then expect the white cloth to remain white. So you can test the color fastness by yourself. You also can test the color fastness by a lab. We are in different projects, we do both. Most of the time we test by ourselves. Sometimes we test by the lab. If it is extremely important, then we test it by the lab. So the next one would be the fabric color. And imagine you're coming to a factory and you are having certain color, so a color sample, and you say, I would love to have this very same color. And the factory will manufacture your fabrics in the very same color. So how do you make sure that the color is the same? The first one, you will be comparing them both. You'll say, okay, looks the same. So the second one, you could run a lab test. So these are 2. And it's up to you which one you do. Again, these requirements should be stipulated before the production, not after that, because after production does not make any sense anymore. So now we are going, another one which you want to test is fabric weight. So the fabric weight is being tested it's quite simple. You ask your factory to test it on a scale. And this is a fabric weight scale. If you want to test it yourself, you can purchase a fabric weight scale and test it yourself. It's very simple. Of course, you can make a lab test for that, but it's really way too expensive for a simple weight test that you can perform yourself, or your factory can do it. So if we are looking at other more specific requirements, like for example a fabric being wrinkle-free, the wrinkle-free quality of a fabric you can't test yourself. You simply turn the fabric until it does not turn anymore and see whether it's wrinkled or not. And 100% wrinkle-free fabric will not wrinkle. For example, if you are producing a fabric that has to be fire resistant, obviously you can test it by yourself as well, but a fire resistant requirement is already a very specific one. And garments made, the fire resistant garments, they are made for a certain purpose. It means that in this particular case you will need to have a lab test confirming black and white that the fabric is fire resistant and what level of fire resistancy it has. If you want to have a tear resistance, again, you will need to run a lab test. The tear resistance by yourself does not make any sense. Normally, when someone comes and says, I need this fabric to be tear resistant to a certain level, then we are talking about specialty items. Say, for example, if belts for the cars are manufactured, they have to have a certain tear resistancy and it has to be tested by a lab. If you are producing a belt for a man and you want to have a high quality product, not the fashion item that is sold for 2 cents and do not last 2 weeks, that are common now in the markets, if you want to have a very good quality leather belt, you will have a tear test as well, and you would love to have it tested by a lab, to have it on paper and to use it for your marketing materials. So the belt in this case would be a commercial product, a normal market product, right? A fashion product. But a belt for a car is a special product. It has to do with the security of the driver and the passengers in the car. So you cannot really joke with it. But in both cases, I would recommend a lab test. So now we've spoken about how do you control quality of your fabrics. The same thing you can do for your trims. You can test them on color fastness. You could test them on the composition, on everything. It is not always required. Sometimes it's important, other times it's not that important. You decide yourself which one is important to you, and of course you are looking at the regulations for your garment type in the market where you sell, and then you act and you perform tests according to those regulations, if any. For fashion, it's quite not much is regulated. There are several things that are important. If you are in a children market, then there are several regulations and the tests that you need to run. But if you are in adult market for clothing for adults, then there are not that many regulations. So now you have confirmed that your fabrics are all good. You've tested them. Everything is perfect. And after that, you are going into bulk. So what do you do in the bulk production? How do you make sure that your garment is comes out exactly the same as the sample that you have approved in the production? How can you make sure that the craft is upon your requirements? So again, you submit written specifications to your manufacturer on things like sizing and size deviation acceptance. So you will need to confirm size tables. You specify the packaging. How exactly do you want the packaging to be? You specified what type of labeling goes on the packaging. It's all up to you. You specify the stitches, like what type of stitches do you want, what the stitch sizing that you want, how many stitches per inch for all those different stitches. So if it's not important to you, then you do not specify it, and it will be done in a way that the manufacturer sees fit. But if it is important to you, that then you specify it. So anything that you will look at to determine the quality of the product has to be specified up front. Your manufacturer will reply whether they can meet the standards or not, and often it is related to the price of the product. So sometimes they will say, well, we can do that, but it will cost you. And most of the times, if there is something that cannot be done, manufacturers will say that they will not do it. Or also, sometimes they just simply cannot do it. It is possible that you are going to a manufacturer and this manufacturer does not have a certain machine that you are requiring. So they will tell you that they do not have the machine, that they want to exchange it. So this is a dialogue. At the end of the day, the manufacturer and you have all these requirements in written. And this is when the pre-production sample is being made. The pre-production sample is the sample how your good will look in production. You receive the pre-production sample. You can submit your changes at a certain point in time. When you say this sample is approved, against this sample the quality control will be executed. Your production will be compared to this pre-production sample and for the deviations. So this will be your pre-production sample is a quality standard. Your manufacturer has to have a pre-production sample too. So normally 2 samples are executed for a client. 1 goes to the client and another stays with the manufacturer. Large fashion companies operate with AQL levels. AQL level means the acceptable quality level. AQL level is a measure applied to products, and it is defined in ISO 2859-1 as the quality level that is the worst tolerable. So that's important to know. The AQL tells you how many defective components are considered acceptable during random sampling quality inspections. So when at the end of the bulk, when the bulk is finished and the quality control organization goes to control the quality, they control this quality based on a certain AQL level, the acceptable quality level that that the large clothing companies predefine upfront. For general consumer products, AQL level, by the way, the AQL tables are freely available online, so you can Google AQL levels and you will get the table which will show you what different types of AQL levels are available and how do you do the quality control based on what AQL do you choose. So for general consumer products, AQL level is usually set at 2.5. What does it mean? It means a 0 tolerance for critical defects, 2.5 for major defects, and 4 for minor defects. What does it mean? It means that no critical defects are allowed, 2.5% major defects are allowed, and 4% minor defects are allowed. The price of goods is calculated based on client's AQL requirements. The higher AQL requirement, the higher the price of goods. The list of your AQL defect classification has to be known to the manufacturer upfront. They need to know against which points are you going to check the quality. You need to define your minor defects, your major defects, and your critical defects upfront. So what does it mean? Your minor defect is a defect that does not interfere with sales of the product. So you still can sell the product and the client will not return this product. This is considered a minor defect. A major defect is considered a defect that will lead to a return, a defect that makes a product unsellable. For example, if you have a dress shirt and this dress shirt for a man does not have any buttons on it, you cannot sell it. It will be returned by a client. I have not seen a client in ages who would say, oh, do not worry, I'm going to buy some buttons and sew them on myself. And critical defects are defects that can cause injury or even death to the client. For example, if you are using a fabric that is causing severe allergies to the people who are wearing it. So this would be considered a critical defect. So all these defects have to be defined upfront, and then the quality assurance organization is going to check your bulk that is finished against these criteria. And then what is happening, what's going to happen with your bulk? We are going to, the denim pants of yours are going to be produced at the denim factory. They are going back to us, and we are doing the integral quality control of all these products. So those products that do not qualify will go back to the factory, and they need to improve it. If it is not improvable, then we'll remove it from the box. It's not being shipped. And at the moment that we have a list of criteria against which we have to check this, your bulk and also the AQL level, then we are going to check against this criteria, and at the end we are giving you a report. Everything that can be improved after the quality control is being improved. Items that cannot be improved anymore, that are disqualified, so to speak, they're not being shipped. This is a common quality control procedure that we... Question number 9, Chantel is asking, what happens if defective items are shipped out? Based on your AQL level, the price of your product includes a certain percentage of defective items. And if the amount of defective items is above the AQL level that you have required, then the handling of these defective items will be processed in the way that you have agreed upon with your manufacturer. Question number 10. Chantel is asking, what pre-launch, pre-sales strategies should I begin with? I suggest you start with the viral sweepstakes and pre-sale campaign. I suggest you join my viral giveaway group, and I will teach you how to set up viral sweepstakes and pre-sale campaign with UpViral. This is the software we use for our company, and this is one of the best softwares we are using from all the softwares that we are using. So the only thing you need to do is to get the 14 days $1 trial. It's not free, it's $1 trial of the UpViral software through my affiliate link, and this affiliate link you can find in the description under this video. The last sweepstakes that we've been running for our product, we have got 1,277 emails of people on our list. So 1,277 people joined our sweepstakes. Totally, we have invested $150 for advertisement. So normally, it would cost you, it's a rule of thumb, if you advertise for anything and you collect emails, it would cost you $1.50 per email. If you divide 150 by 1,277, you will get, well, roughly 12 cents that we've paid per email on advertisement. So from this 1,277 people that we've got, 650 people joined directly into our campaign, and 600 and more, the second half, has been brought by those people who joined. So we have a viral factor times 2. Everybody who joins brings another friend. And this is the strength of the viral. The last sweepstakes, when we were running the last sweepstakes, we still didn't know that we can really run it as a pre-sale as well. So this was not clear to us. But now I see clearly that you can run a sweepstakes and at the same time pre-sell your product to the people who are joining your sweepstakes. So this is what I would suggest everyone to do who wants to pre-sell her product. And generally speaking, even if you don't want to pre-sell your product but you want to sell your product, I would recommend everybody to run a viral sweepstakes in the beginning as your door to get people in, as your first step in your value ladder, and after that you are offering them your products. These are all the questions that we have today for the weekly Fashion Business Mastermind Q&A. If you have any other questions, please DM me on TikTok or submit your questions under this video on YouTube. For those who are in fashion business and clearly understand that they need help, I would love to invite you to grab a link under this video and join our 14 days free trial in Fashion Business Mastermind. In these 14 days, you will do more for your business than you have done in the past 3 years. This is a fact confirmed by our members over and over again. I wish you a wonderful week ahead and see you on next Wednesday on YouTube at 3 p.m. Berlin time. Wear your passion.